Welcome back to another video for Motorhome Retrofit. So today I think it's pretty obvious what we're doing. Now this isn't just another wing mirror video. This is a new breed of wing mirror, still a Fiat Ducato one, but this is a factory specification mirror. So in terms of the actual quality and build and functionality of it, it's different to what we've done before. The mirrors that we've got on our website are our aftermarket versions. So they are cheap because of the price. We only sell them for $129 on our website. That's including shipping. But of course they are aftermarket wing mirrors. Some customers want better, they want more. And the reason for that is one, because they're forced into a corner, like this customer. This customer went to Fiat and said, I need new wing mirror, it's been battered. They said, well, okay, that's fine, but you've got FM and DAB antennas in that wing mirror, plus it's heated, plus it's electrically adjustable. So that's gonna be 700 quid. This is a ridiculous amount of money. So we've been able to source a genuine factory mirror in a copy box. It's all OE specification, with the FM and DAB antenna as it would come from factory, along with all the other specification from the glass to the indicator, for considerably less, probably 50%. So if you are interested in a replacement mirror, whether you want to fit it yourself or have it supplied and fitted here, and you want to have peace of mind knowing that it's the genuine part or nearest damn it genuine part, then this is the video for you. Now, we have done quite a few videos for wing mirrors so far, but the videos that we've done for wing mirrors seem to all be near side, so passenger side. This is where it seems to be that in the UK, whether it's, I mean, this is a long arm mirror as well. So the long arm mirror basically means that you've just got, in the UK, there's short arm mirror, which is quite squat. And then you've got a medium mirror, but we don't see many of them. And then you see a long arm mirror. Most of the time, short arm or long arm. But of course, it does stick out quite a bit from the vehicle. But that's because on a coach-built vehicle, you've got the fairing. And what you want to try and do is, so Sammy can come down down the side of the vehicle here. The whole point of that wing mirror is to protect the side of this vehicle. And now hopefully, if Sammy can stand in line with the mirror, you'll be able to see exactly what that wing mirror protects. So that wing mirror is sticking out no more than 6 inches past the coach built aspect of the vehicle. Now, I'd rather have my wing mirror smashed off anytime than this be damaged. This is thousands and thousands of pounds, if not written off. This is a plastic component that can be replaced, hence why we're doing today's video. So what we're going to do is another example of how to get the mirror off, what tools you need, what we find behind in terms of connectors, and then get the new mirror back on and this customer on his way. Okay, so we start with the basics, and that is what tools you're going to need. We do this every time just in case you are watching this video, you haven't seen the previous videos, and you want to know exactly what we're going to need for the job. So Jason has already got the tools out. He's going to hand them to me out of camera shot. So we've got 2 trim tools. He's a little bit slow today. He's not very well. So yeah, 2 trim tools. An hour later, we need the Torx T30 and also the Torx T20. And then also, just because we always use these on a daily basis, a head torch. A head torch just helps massively just get into the nooks and crannies and other bits and pieces. Now, I've already had a quick look just before we started rolling the camera again. One of the biggest problems with these door cards is where the passenger electric mirror panel is. This is a really tight fitting bit of trim. There's a clip one end, and I can already see, you might not be able to spot that with the camera, but I can already see that someone, let's see if we can get a good shot on there. So someone has already been in here, because you can see where someone's used a tool to get in here. So that means that this has been off. Whether that's going to make my job easier or not, or whether when we use the trim tool to get the plastic trim tool in down here, whether the little metal clip is then going to fall off. It doesn't really matter if it falls off, because it falls off most of the time. We just need to then get a little magnet if we can't access it, find it, clip it back on, otherwise this panel then won't fit properly. The blinds here, so these are the Remis blinds. They do all differ, but these are the Remis blinds. So what we will do on this particular video is show you carefully, probably just some clips as to what's going on here, so we can just unclip this to get access to what we need. And also behind the speaker, luckily it's not the newer model Ducato where you have to take the whole door card off. All right, so let's get cracking. So with your trim tool, doesn't have to be a bojo, it doesn't have to be an angled one. First things first, we're just going to get the trim tool in behind the speaker grill here. And we're going to get the speaker grill off. Normally it's easier to get it in from the metal side of it here, and then once you've done that you can just work your trim tool all the way around and just unclip that. Once you've done that, just check that none of your lugs are broken and just put it to one side. This is where the T20 Torx comes in. What I'm going to do on this particular one is, this is a Philips. Can I have a Philips, please? So normally these are a T20 Torx, but the factory speaker has been fitted in with 3 Philips screwdrivers. So we're just going to, thank you, just going to pop that in there. Let's get this factory speaker unscrewed. Now, be careful what you're doing with your screws because you don't want to lose them. So I'm just putting them on the carpet where we're working. Speaker just comes out. Might be held in with a bit of the bonding sealant on there before. And then very carefully, you've just got your little safety tab here. And that safety tab is, I always push in home first before you pull it out. Push in, twist the safety tab, and then give it a bit of a pull out. Now we do find that some of these are really quite locked in there. Now this is a 67 plate van, so that's 2017 from September onwards. So that's nearly 8 years or more that that's been plugged in there. No one's really bothered it. So therefore, when you do get the plug out, it does need a bit of a wiggle to get that out. Now you can put your speaker somewhere safe. So we've got now access to this area, which will also help you with your cabling and other such stuff. It's not necessarily direct access, but you will be able to see with your head torch connectors and stuff that we're going to need. So just above the speaker wiring here, we've got the wing mirror. So this is here, and all it is just tucked up in this pocket. Let's have a little root around here, see what else we can find. So I'll tell you what we'd do. Let's have a look to see if... Yeah, I can have a little... There's also the connectors for the aerial. Let's have a... Now, these are... I wouldn't say that they're stuffed up inside here. There's not really a great deal of room, and you have to be quite nimble-fingered, I would say, to have a little play around with all these little connectors. Otherwise, you could be in here getting stuck for quite some time. So that's what we do, is we can unplug. Let's have a look, see if we can do that. I think chances are that we might need to get this top panel out here, because we've got a lot going on this mirror. So I'm going to unplug this one anyway. So here's the factory connector. Now I've just turned that round so Sammy can see. You've got a little tab. That little tab is the locking tab. You just lift it up so that it's removing itself from that locking in tab. And when you do that, you should just be able to give that a wiggle and it come out. But again, if it's been in situ for quite some time, chances are it's going to be a bit sticky or stiff in there. So you just, again, give it a wiggle. It's a good tight fitting clip, and that just comes undone like so. I don't think that's going to make our existing cabling any easier to come out. So the chances are is that we may need to again, access this top bit here to see what we're working with. So let's do that now. So let's just pop that in there. And what we do is, even though I've seen that that's been off before, you can either get your trim tool down this bit or you can get it down the side. You're probably more likely to get it in down the side here because it's a longer piece of trim. See, that's already behaving quite nicely. So I've got trim rise here. I can then put the trim tool in here and I can prise it up. And what I can do, because I know that the connector is this end, I'm going to confidently just keep levering that plastic trim tool up. Okay, so you can see what I've just done here is I have had to battle with the plastic trim tool this metal clip. Now the metal clip hasn't come off, that's great news, but if you tried to lever it from the other end, you would have broken it. So it's narrow end in first, and then the clip holds it in. So what we will do is before, so just to remove this, you just push the plug in, depress the lug, pull out. And what we will do is we'll probably, actually that one's not too bad. So that one there is the reason why these come off for a pastime. It's not going to come off, it's not loose, so that should go back in and clip down nicely and securely. Okay, so we're now at the point of, oh, interesting. Now I did say at the beginning of the video, this looks like it's been off before. Well, if you can bring the camera in down to here, you'll see here that this bolt hasn't been put in properly. So that bolt there is either cross-threaded and tight. Yes, it is. It's been cross-threaded because that bolt hasn't been put back in properly for this bit of trim, meaning that someone's already had a bit of a go here. So we're going to take that bolt out and we're going to see if that has been cross-threaded in there. There's a reason why that bolt's not been done up tightly. So we'll take that out. Okay, so you can see the shiny thread on there. It's not too bad, to be fair. I can see exactly the reason why this bolt's not going in. Hopefully Sammy can bring the camera down through. Can you see here? You'll have to angle it in straight, Sammy, because this hole for this plastic trim doesn't line up with the thread. So if you haven't got a nice straight run for the bolt, how can the bolt go in at the right straight angle and do up with the thread? It can't. So what's happened is actually, if you look here, I've put the screwdriver in. For me to get it perfectly straight, I'm having to flex that trim quite a bit, and that's the reason why that bolt hasn't gone in properly. So we're going to have to rectify that as part of our wing mirror replacement, and that's only because I'd seen obvious signs that this had been off before. So when we do put this trim back in, we're going to have to make sure that that's right. Otherwise, that bolt is not going to do up properly as it should do. Right, okay, so the next stage is I'm going to have a little look down here to see if we can undo some of the wiring connectors. In here is where you've got your wing mirror electrics. You've also got your FM and your DAB antenna. So let's see, now that I can see top and bottom. Okay, this will help. So you'll have to come around the side here, Sammy. Here, this is the reason why Fiat have quoted so much money, because of these little babies. So these are the factory fitted FM and DAB, but I can tell you right now, this is not factory. This has been broken. Someone's been in here, broken both of these locking lugs off of the FACRA connectors, because this plastic housing in white and grey, it's called a FACRA housing. These locking tabs on these FACRA housings have been broken off by someone that's probably a barbarian. What you can do now is we're going to need some snips, please, Jason, to see why someone's gone in and butchered that. So let's cut that off there. remove these crude cable ties that someone's fitted, and then we can remove the FM, and we can remove the DAB factory antenna. And good thing about that is what we can do is we can lift this up, because the new wing mirror that we're going to fit has got new one of these on here. The problem is the damage hasn't been done to this. The damage has been done to the original factory plug, so we're going to have to use a cable tie the same way that we've just found that, which is a shame. Even if I went rummaging, I'd be hard pushed to find 2 new connectors for here. They'd only be universal green ones, not vehicle specific DAB and FM. All right, so we will do the best we can to remedy this problem and this problem where someone's been in here before, potentially a mechanical garage that don't know what they're doing, and have gone in a little bit too heavy-handed. Right, so there's your antenna for your bits and pieces. Let's see what else we've got here. There's a little electronics module box in here. Not seen that before, so we're going to have to see what that is all about once we get the old mirror off, and also the blind assembly. So then once we've got the mirror off, we can check it all out. I think the next bit probably is just to get the head torch on, because now that we've removed the FM and DAB antennas, there's another module in here that I've not seen before, funny enough. So head torch on, just immediately frees up your hands to do. Now what I'm going to try and do is where the wiring for the mirror comes in, I'm going to try and get that in down underneath here. See if we can. Yeah, okay, great. So here's this other little weird box of tricks here. It's like a male and female converter that then connects to something else. So we're going to need to see, so I'm going to have to unplug it exactly the same way as I unplugged this. So lift up the little tab, give it a bit of a wiggle, and see if that's then going to yeah, so that's the plug that I've just unplugged, and this is also related to the mirror that we're about to take off. So I think the best thing to do is then move to the next stage of unclipping these and starting to undo our bolts. Now I remember the last time we did this, these bolts were done up pretty tight, so we had to use a socket. So this is a T30. And I'm just going to put the T30 in and just see how tight. Okay, so not too bad. I'm just going to undo the first one. Okay. If you really want to be precise, you would need a slightly bigger bit. But most of the tools that we have in are T15, T20, T25, T30. This is ever so slightly bigger than a T30, but it's irrelevant because it's not as if you're going to do any damage. Again, see, that's quite tight. So I've just had to put a bit of muscle into there just to undo that, because that has been on there since day dot. So we've managed to get that on there. That's fine. So we can undo that. No issues with that, mirrors lined up. Right, next stage is unclipping the blinds. You need to be careful, you can't go in heavy-handed, you're going to break something. So I'm just going to stand on the top here, and I'm just going to look down with my torch to see exactly where I can get away with putting my trim tool. And I think going in here, and that's at the top of the vertical, is the best way. Okay, well that was easier than I thought. All I've done there is I've actually applied pressure at the pivot point, this bit here, because this is quite flimsy. And as I've unclipped here, this has just come away nicely. Now let's see if you can see, if Sammy can come around here, you've got these two rectangular fixings here. Hopefully you can see that. These two rectangular fixings line up with the two bits in behind the Remis blinds. And then on the back of the Remis blind, probably not going to be able to see, but I'll take it out for you. You've got one of those standard popper type clips. You need to be careful because you don't really want to be breaking that. If you break it, it's just not going to give you that satisfactory end result of the mechanism going in and fitting properly. Now again, on the last video I showed you access to the top bolt here, and also just giving it a bit of a flex out here so that you can then also get access to the secondary bolt in here. So let's do the first one. If you're careful, there's no reason whatsoever why this blind won't flex out. We're 4 inches away from the metalwork here, so I'm going to see if we can. Okay, so that was quite tight, but not really tight. If you were able to get in there with a socket, it would have been much easier, but I've done it with a hand tool here. So again, I'm holding the trim away from the door. I'm going to get Jason just to support the mirror so that there is no chance of it then falling down. I'm going to undo the third bolt. Okay, so third bolt now. Now, if Jason gives the mirror a bit of a wibble, okay, so there shouldn't be that much movement because we've still got one extra bolt down here to do. So we're going to get the tool in here. Again, you need to be careful because this is, I'd say, relatively cheap plastic, but you do need to be careful because otherwise you could do some damage. As long as you can just undo that initial tightness on the bolt, you can get the screwdriver in without it bending too much, and you can just undo that fourth bolt. Now, with somebody holding the wing mirror on the other side, I'm not forcing the blinds out, I'm not doing any damage, so we can just undo and then just finish that off with your thumb and forefinger. Now, one thing I would say is, yep, all 4 bolts are exactly the same. Now, I have just removed a little earth strap, so this must be related to the little power pack that goes in here, but we'll look at that in a second. Now, if Jason's careful, we should be able to wiggle the mirror, and the mirror should start to come free. Let's have a look at what cabling we've got in here. Okay, so this here is the earth strap that was connected to the last bolt down here, so be aware of that. And then let's have a quick look. Okay, so what you need to do is where the speaker was, you need to put your hand up inside the aperture and feel for the cabling that is protected in plastic sheathing. And it looks like this. This is the cabling that's protected in plastic sheathing. It's really obvious, and that is what the mirror is connected to. So hopefully now, hopefully that mirror feels like it's becoming a little bit freer. I'm also, don't forget, going to have to feed up the factory FM and DAB antenna plug, because that is also something that has to come out with the mirror. So you have to be quite nimble fingered at this point. So there's the FM and DAB, because not every one of these has got these. Some of them might just have FM, some of them won't have anything. So I freed up now the power, and I freed up that. Okay, so we've got the 2 FM leads, we've got the mirror unplugged itself. So now what I'm going to do is very carefully, whilst Jason's holding the mirror, I'm just going to bring the door closed a little bit so that we've got a little bit more access to what we're working with. Now you can see, just very carefully, you can see that the mirror is at the point of wanting to come off. That's why an extra pair of hands is really handy. I've already told you that it's got a little hook at the top. The hook is at the top here to stop the mirror from falling off, but we have got then the actual main wiring loom coming into the bottom of the mirror, plus your 2 antennas. So we need to do a little bit of wiggling and a bit of up and down movement to get the mirror off. So as Jason does that, so you can, oh, there you go. So actually, at the beginning, it was stuck at the top and of the hook, and then at the bottom, you had a bit of wiggling because of the fact that you've got the little circlip here that holds all the cabling in. Right, now the mirror is free from the body itself. So if Jason stands there, what I'll do is I'll just open the door again and make sure that there's nothing stopping that from coming out. Okay, great. Great, so here's the mirror. Seen far better days. Long arm, factory fitted Fiat mirror. You've got your connector for your heating and electrically adjustable mirror glasses. You've also got your factory fitted FM DAB connector in there. So now we're going to give this a bit of a clean up and get it ready for the new mirror to go on. But in a minute, I'll well, the next part of the video is I'll show you the new mirror that's going on. One replacement mirror. So what we're going to do is just get it out of its little bag. You can just tell immediately from the quality of the build and the finish and the plastics that this is much better quality than a lot of the aftermarket ones that you can find online. No wonder this is 3 times the price as it would normally be, but nowhere near the price that it would be if you're buying this from Fiat trade parts or a Fiat garage. Still got the indicator on there. You've still got the long arm assembly. You've then got exactly the same, nothing's changed. Still got the connector at the bottom, and then you've got the identical FM and DAB antenna as we've already seen taken off. You've then got the connector for the heated aspect and also the electrically adjusting part. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do everything we've just done in reverse, but before we do that, we're going to give this a quick clean up, because otherwise you can do a job, do it properly. So, door looking like it's brand new, ready for us to fit the new mirror on. It's just nice, get rid of the dust and the dirt and the spiders and everything else, and just provide the best surface for this new mirror to go on. Now in terms of what I'm going to do next, so I'm just going to hold the mirror to support the weight. We now need to pop these cables back in where they came out, like so. At the same time, then I'm going to plug in the little electric thing. Just make sure it sort of goes off to the back of the van, otherwise you could find that it's going to go off into a silly place. And then taking the support of the weight of the mirror, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get Jason to come around this side and hold this part of the mirror so that I can just guide the wiring in through the door correctly. Right, so I've got Jason holding or supporting the weight of the mirror. We've already got our cable sort of started here, and you never know, you might be lucky and it might just fall in ready to go, or we might have to do a little bit of maneuvering. So I'm going to open the door. Jason's going to be careful of the posts of the mirror so that we don't scratch the vehicle. And as I open the vehicle like so, what we can do is I'm going to open it more than I need to on this bit, because I just want to make sure that we've got everything coming in here as we need it to. So I've got my hand in through the speaker aperture, and I'm rooting around trying to find the connector that I've just put in, which is nicely, conveniently here. So you do need to be careful, because there's this connector for the earth. There is the little Y piece connector in there as well, so be careful. I mean, some of you at this point might be thinking, nah, thanks, I'll get you involved. Okay, that's fine, that's what we do. And you might as well just pay for peace of mind, because if we break something, it's our problem, not yours. So it's easier for you to say, I'll have you do it. So we've got FM DAB antennas, and then we've got the actual mirror itself. So hopefully because in a minute I'll get my head torch back on. Because don't forget, you're going to have to route your cabling back through the access hole that you pulled it out from in the first place. Otherwise, when you go to connect all your bits and pieces back up, you're going to struggle. So let's get, let's feed that up into there. Okay, that's fine. That's the first plug pulled through. Get your hands in there, and then gonna then start to feed the FM and DAB antenna up there. I think what I'm gonna do is actually just stick my torch on. Feed the connector. Now the connector for the FM and DAB antenna is actually quite big, so you know, you could just use put your hand in the top, finger in the top like that, and then you can grab the cable and pull that through. So we've then got your FM, we've then got the power, and hopefully, let's just do a quick visual. Yeah, nothing caught on there. So we're now probably ready for, if I close the door a little bit, we're gonna then assist Jason by looking at and making sure that the mirror itself is then going to clip in nicely. So you'll have to come around this side, Sammy. So here we go. Jason's got the weight of the mirror still. Here's the original connector and the plug. Here's the wiring going in that we've just fed in here. And now what we've got to do is we've got to get this guide pin here located, that guide pin located, so that then we're all lining up with the bolts, but also you've still got to get your hook. So we're going to do that together. We're just going to line it up. Jason's probably got a better view than I have. And when we took the mirror off, we struggled with this bit here because it's quite a big bulbous connector. So line it all up. Hopefully, if that's going to play ball, don't forget the little hook that you've got there. So you'll have to go in a little bit higher than you would normally. And then you've got your guide pin as well. And I think there, actually, when I've got my finger underneath there, but what we both had to do was make sure that the guide pins were in and give it a bit of a wiggle before then that hook goes in and slots down. Now that's at that point now where if we let go of that, it's not going to go anywhere because it's got the hook. Jason's doing that gingerly because he doesn't want it to drop on the floor. It's a very expensive mirror. But the hook on the actual mirror itself is stopping that. You can hear it. It's stopping that from pulling in. But what I'm going to get him to do now is I'm going to get him to push on the mirror as I open the door, because also it stops this seam from being broken. I'm just going to open the mirror a bit more, and one more, and just so that we can take a little bit of the pressure off, I'm just going to get 2 of the bolts back started again. But before you do, you need to make sure that everything is lining up. So I can see the top one is lining up, so all I'm going to do is get it to bite. That's all we're going to do on that one. And then you need to just push in with a bit more from on the mirror there, Jason. And we're going to get this one, get the bolt in. We're not doing it up, we're just getting it to bite. That's fine, that's in and biting. And then where you've got your hidden 2 bolts behind the remus blinds, we're going to make sure that we've got everything lining up here. Now, everything looks good there, so we're now ready to put the next bolts in. Right, so we've got the last 2 bolts to do up. Just make sure that you haven't gone and done up the first 2 overly tight. The one that you've got to worry about is the one down here. Chances are that your mirror setup might not have the earth bolt, but if it has got the earth bolt, you need to make sure that that's reconnected, otherwise then you're going to run into problems. So what we can do is we can put the earth adapter on there, Just to help on there as well, we're just going to lift out and use the screwdriver as well just to do up, like so. Okay, so that's then the third bolt in and doing up. So then that gives us a bit of freedom to get the fourth one in. But what I will need is I need Jason just to push in against the wing mirror, because even though there's 3 bolts in, they're not done up enough to bring it in, but also just want to make sure that they all sit nicely. So that's dislocated and that's going to do up nicely. So that's in and done. And again, same principle, just going to use the screwdriver just to do that up. Now, because we've got all 4 bolts in now, we are absolutely got the green light to do all these up as tight as you want to. So you can go, yep, tight. This one, second one. Third one, nice and tight. And then that fourth one, careful with your trim. Careful with your ring terminal, and nice and tight on there. So 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts lined up. Now, before you do any of this stuff, I would locate your little lugs on your Remis blinds. Now I can see there's one in the bottom lined up, ready to go. Second one there. Did you hear that? Click, click. Really, really nicely. And because this should all be in lined up, we should, he says, let's have a quick look. Should be able to. Let's just see. Okay, well that's interesting actually, because it might be that there's another popper up there. No, that was just an alignment thing. I thought there was another popper up here, but the rectangular connector for here and here just needs to be at the right height. It just clipped in really, really nicely. So we've gone clip, 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 clip. That's all in and done nicely along here. You've done your 4 bolts up. So if we were to shut the door, actually we've got fully fitted mirror in and ready to go. All nice straight lines, no damage here. Wing mirror's ready to go for in terms of it being clean, and the new wing mirror is on. Now we've just got to do the electric side of it. So we'll close the wing mirror, open the door fully, and then we come back to the fun bit. Now remember, at the beginning of the video, I said that we had some issues. Well, you now have to feed your cabling back through and plug back in. So you've got your connector here, male and female. It can't go in the wrong way because it's what they call keyed. It's keyed, so it's got a little plastic tab on it, and that literally can't go in any other way. If you do get it in the wrong way, you're either very clever or stupid, but either way, you can't get it in the right way. Look, there you go, you can't get it in the wrong way. It goes in and it pushes and it locks. That's that sorted. The other one's pushed in there. So now what we've got to do, let's just pop that in there, out the way. Don't tuck away your speaker cable because you'll need that. Now we've got our FM and DAB antennas to try and sort out, because as I said earlier, someone's broken these. Now we can plug these in like so, but what someone's done is actually just butchered the 2 plugs on here, and that's a bit of a shame. I think the safest bet here really I think the safest bet is, so I'm just doing this, I'm sure yours are going to be absolutely fine, so I'm just going to bend this plastic housing out here like so. I'm going to get Jason to pass me the insulation tape, because we can't use that because it's been broken. So in, done, dusted. We're going to then plug in the grey FACRA, which is the DAB, and we're going to plug in the white FACRA, which is the FM. And because someone's broken it, you then know that unfortunately those are not going to clip together. So the best thing to do here would be get a decent bit of insulation tape, put the 2 together, and make sure that those two connectors are not going to come out. And every time you twist or go round the cylinder, you're just going to pull the tape a little bit, and it stretches the elastic part of it like so that you don't have any issues. And then we're going to do exactly the same for the grey one. Okay, so we've got two connectors that were originally broken now taped up, so it looks nice and neat. Now, because we're neatness freaks here, we're going to use some Tessa cloth tape. It's a fleece tape, and it's almost really sort of belt and braces. We're going to put the two plugs together, and we're going to wrap this fleece tape round it. One, to give you an extra layer of protection, but two, to stop any rattles and vibrations in the door from these connectors and everything else. Because actually, when the door was made, the little plastic trim that we took off has a little Christmas tree type fur arrangement on it where you just clip it into the trim. So we're going to pop that into there. We're going to, I wouldn't say use the word stuff, but we're going to tuck that back inside there like so. And it's out the way, ready for the speaker. We're then going to clip in the electric window and do the reverse of what we did earlier. So front clip in first, and we're going to put that in. But before we do that, we're going to make good the problem with the original bolt. So you can put that to one side, doesn't get in the way. Let's just unplug it for the sake of doing that, and let's get ready to put that bolt in there. Okay, last couple of stages, we're going to fix this bolt back in. Now, at the beginning of the video, you saw that this was loose just because someone had it off and not put it back on again. So what I'm going to do is, rather than take apart the whole door and loosen all the bolts off just to push the trim over, I can see that there's flex on the trim. So I'm going to get the bolt to start to do up. As it gets to the bit where it was loose before, where they just left it, I'm just going to flex the trim. As I flex the trim, I can feel the bolt sit in the thing, and it's gone past its little collar. So let's do that. Now that's tight. Now, if you look at that, completely different to how we first took it off when it was then loose. That just pops in only one way, can't get it wrong. Clip in. Don't forget, narrow bit first, and put your hand on there and push down. Okay, as long as you haven't lost the plastic, the metal clip on here, job done, no problem. Now what we're going to do is get the speaker. Don't forget to plug your speaker back in. Speaker plugs in. To be honest, you can just flex the little trim like that so that that doesn't pop out. Your main concern really is just making sure that the speaker itself doesn't then cause a problem when you go to screw it back in. So make sure you're not doing any damage to the speaker cabling itself. Speaker just lines up with its screw holes. You can start it off by hand if you want. So let's just get the first screw in. Careful not to slip with the screwdriver, because you will go through that speaker cone, and everything you've done today will then be lost, because you're probably going to have to replace your speaker. Probably not a bad thing, because the speakers aren't great in here. We are replacing them on a daily basis. So that's that. Again, don't do all your screws up tight and then find that the third one doesn't line up. Just do them up enough so that you can get all of your screws and your bolts in. Just hold here the arm of the screwdriver. Once you've got all of your screws in, you can do the tighten up. Neatly put your cabling away. And then get your trim and put your trim on the same way it came off. So that is, tuck it in here and here and here, and then you might need flex. I think actually, sorry, I'm going to make that a mistake there. I think, yeah, you do, there's a little lip on here, so you need to probably get the little hook in here. It's not much of a hook, but it's a tiny one there. And then you should be able to clip these in. And all I've done there is put my hand on there as support. So you're in, and make sure it's all clicked in and ready to go. So now we're at the point of being able to test the mirror. So what I'm going to do is I'll shut the door. Jason, if you can put the ignition on, please. And I'm going to open my passenger window. First of all, we'll check the window's working. Okay, can't hear any problems with cabling, so nothing's caught there. We're now going to put the mirror out to its normal position. Let's check the indicator. Brilliant, so the indicator's working, that's great. And then if we open the mirror to a more of an extent, if you can adjust the top glass, please. Brilliant, top glass is moving, and then the bottom glass. This is your blind spot mirror. Absolutely brilliant. So that means that when the engine's running, this will start to heat up, will be the heated aspect. I'm going to remove these little stickies here, give the glass a bit of a clean up and a polish for the customer, and then we'll be ready to hand over. And that is the mirror in finished, fitted, complete. What we've done today for this customer is fit him with a factory but retrofitted wing mirror, long arm, good quality mirror, and saved him hundreds of pounds compared to the original quote that he'd got from Fiat. So if you're interested in this, whether it's passenger side, driver's side, short arm, long arm, FM and DAB antennas, thermometer on the right hand side or temperature gauge, or just FM antenna or no antennas, do get in touch with us. We can help, we can supply and fit, or we can just supply. You've seen the video, you should hopefully be able to help save yourself money by doing this installation yourself, and that's what we're here for. So drop a like, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget also to check out our sister company Advanced in Car for other how-to videos. Website links in the bio, and as usual guys, thank you for watching and thanks for your support.